on him to Green Bay, not playing like we would have wanted. And like I said last week, you got to give them a lot of credit for how they played on defense. But we got back to the basics. DQ preached physicality and playing tough and coming downhill, and I thought our guys responded.
Noah, still kind of a question mark. Terry, a question mark. How much changes, without giving away secret stuff, how much changes when or if those guys are out?
Yeah, they're two really good players, so anytime you lose two of your top guys, if they're not able to go, then you got to be creative and find ways to get other guys touches. And we have some young guys that are ascending, and if they have to play, then I'm sure they'll step up. But you definitely, when you have two guys that have been reliable, made a lot of plays in this league, you got to find other ways to get guys touches and move the football any way you can.
You guys inserted Kliff over. You guys inserted two new starters at guard. What did you think about their performance in particular in helping you pave the way in the run game?
They did a nice job. Chris Paul has really elevated his level of play from last year to this year. Was really impressed with him all spring, and training camp came in at a good weight and has just continued to ascend in his play style. And then Wiley's a veteran who last year started to tackle the entire year. We asked him to come in and play some guard for us, and just responded in the way you'd expect a guy who's won a Super Bowl playing guard. So yeah, I was really glad that those guys got the opportunity to play and took advantage of it.
Hey, Kliff, you always hear about the next man up, but you have like next men up and a whole host of guys coming in. As a play caller, the challenge to create a coordinated group when there's that many new faces possibly or different faces in the lineup. Yeah,
it's just always about maximizing your personnel. It doesn't matter who's up, who's down. As a play caller, you got to be able to adjust and maximize the guys you have and what do they do best and put them in those positions to be successful. And I think our staff takes a lot of pride in that.
Different type question, so it's kind of big picture, but for ESPN, we're doing a story on like quarterbacks wearing wristbands and all that. Your guys don't. Like, what is your philosophy with the wristbands and having your quarterbacks not wear them?
Yeah, I just didn't like it as a player because I didn't like putting my eyes down, and so I just haven't done it. And we're no huddle, and you have the headset, and our verbiage is probably a little less than most people, and I think that allows us to not have one. But yeah, I think it was just something I prefer not looking down at it on the field, and so I've just kind of adopted that to my coaching style.
What do you think of the Falcons' pass rush?
It's been really good when they're able to pin their ears back and come after you. I think last week they were putting some tough situations based on how the game went. But if you look at the stats and how they played, they've been really, really good on defense and not giving up big plays. When they can pin their ears back, they're really, really good. And so it'll be quite a challenge to try to slow those guys down. The young guys have been impressive for young players to step in there and have the production they've had.
And then with Bates out last week, not sure of his status this week, but Ben Sinnott, Trent Scott kind of helping out. How did you feel they did?
I thought, they were very physical, and that's what you asked him to do. Ben continues to come on, and his role continues to expand, and then Colson Yankoff as well got some time in there, and we want him to be physical in the run game, and they answered that call.
Hey, Coach. Looking at the offense and everything that you were able to do last week, the quick start, was that more of a complete game of what you're looking to see each week for the most part?
Yeah, we'd like to start fast, and I really thought Debo set the tone with that kickoff return and gave us all a lot of confidence, and then the O-line was able to I thought, move the line of scrimmage that first drive and really give us a lot of confidence as well. And so we want to be able to play downhill, play physical, play on our terms and not play on our heels like I thought we did against Green Bay. And so I think that was more indicative of what we'd like to see week in and week out from our offense.
Hey, Coach, when you look at your running back room, can you share about Coach Anthony Lynn and what he's done to prepare those guys for game day? Yeah,
he's been tremendous. I mean, a guy who's been a head coach, been a great play caller in this league, so played in this league for a long time, went to one of the greatest universities in the world at Texas Tech. So there's a lot of positives that he brings with him. But I just think his wisdom, his belief in those guys, and they're all different styles, and he knows how to maximize and use them and get the most out of each guy and what they do well. It's been really cool to see and just be around him, learned a lot from him.
With receiver, because of the injuries, who knows what you're going to have to do this week. But with Jalen Lane, you may have to play him outside. But ideally, as a 5'10" guy, supposed to be guy, you see, as ideally on the outside, or is it just, hey, we have to do something this week, or for these games, and we'll have to use him that way?
Yeah, I think when we drafted him, I envisioned him more of a slot, but it's a guy who's, as camp went on, he showed he can do some things outside. And so with our receiver situation, how it's been, he's been out there some and having to play. But I think eventually I'd like to see him as a slot in our offense. I think he really fits what we do and can really excel inside there.
You mentioned having to be when you're missing some guys, maybe you have to be a little more creative to maximize a guy. Does that bring out the mad scientist in you, or do you ultimately find yourself being more conservative because you just got to how do I make a play here?
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. I think you have to walk that fine line of just making sure that whatever you're asking you guys to do, they're comfortable with it and they can feel like they can excel in it and make that play. Last thing you want to do is get too far out of the box and guys aren't comfortable in their roles or they're not playing with confidence. And so we try to make sure whatever's going in, the guys know it, they can attack it, not think a lot, and play fast and physical.
I'm sure you guys love the competition at left guard, Brandon Coleman and Chris Paul. Ultimately, what do you need to see out of Brandon Coleman to get him back on the field? Is it more physical, mental? Where is he kind of lacking, I guess?
Yeah, I just say the health. We preach competition, and he had some nagging type injuries that kept him from practicing, and he hadn't played a lot inside there to begin with. So just being consistent in your practice habits and being able to be healthy and be out there, I think that's something he's got to keep working to get those reps inside there. But he's done a great job. He's what we expected. It was just a situation where it was Chris's time, and he took advantage of it.
Coach, both Debo and Jalen have obviously shown great potential on special teams, but with Terry and Noah being nicked up, is there any consideration there? I'm sure you're not calling special teams plays, but still, is there any consideration there as far as how much work they would get, if you need them out running routes?
Yeah, if Terry and Noah aren't able to go, then I would assume that would be adjusted some. I think Debo is such an impact player in all phases that we're going to use him when we need him. But I'm sure if those guys can't go, that we'll be smart about the usage. Appreciate it, Coach. Thank y'all.